Hey everyone, how's it going? Azren the language nerd here. Hope you're doing very well. Welcome to episode number 5 of Azren's Journal. This is a segment on my YouTube channel where I share my own personal language learning journey and the show where I give a lot of different pieces of advice for language learners. For those of you who are new to this segment on my channel, there are two pieces or two parts to every single video. Part 1 is just life updates, and then we have part 2 which is where we dive into a lot of language learning content. With that aside, let's jump right in. In my personal life, there's something really funny and interesting I want to share with you. I recently discovered that in my city, we have what are called Brew Caves. A Brew Cave is basically a combination of a brewery and an arcade. And I haven't checked any out yet, but the concept seems glorious and just oh so fun. I mean, arcade games, especially the traditional ones, are so amazing, and they're just a blast, and I love them. And there's something about this concept of bringing back like retro stuff, like retro arcade games, and mixing it with like a brewery, because in my city we have like a very beer kind of culture, like something about that feels really magical, and I'm excited to get some of my friends together so we can go check that out. On the work side of things are pretty standard, nothing's overly new. Still trying to squeeze a lot of the opportunities that are on my plate. Most notably, that comes to mind right now, the opportunity I have with Easy Languages. I don't remember if I've ever talked about it on my YouTube channel, but Easy Languages, which is a iconic, like such a big YouTube channel in the whole realm of language learning, they reached out to me a few months ago and they asked me if I would want to make videos for their channel. I, of course, agreed, and for the past few months I've been making some videos. So I'm trying to really take advantage of that opportunity that I have, and just trying to do the best work that I can for them. Additionally, like I've said in the past, I'm focused on trying to continue to grow things in my business. So more collaborations, more partnerships, grow my local events, offer a wider variety of events, more people at the events, like just grow things globally in the business. But that's basically business as usual. That's not necessarily anything that's new per se in my world. Now let's jump into our language learning stuff. So as per usual, let's do the vocabulary update. So on the Mandarin side of things, ever since I started this challenge here, or this video series rather, I'm now at 79 new words, which is awesome. Give me a high five. I'm so happy about it. A couple of key words that are standing out for me right now in Mandarin that I've learned recently is 凭什么. 凭什么 has the same meaning as 为什么, which means why. And the difference though with 凭什么 is that if you use 凭什么, the meaning is that you're asking why, but almost like incredulously. Almost like what the person said is something you wildly don't understand, and you're like, why would you ever say that? That doesn't make sense. On what grounds are you making that statement? Heading over to the Gujarati side of things, I've made some good progress as well. I'm now at 14 new words ever since I started this video series. Big word that is standing out for me on the Gujarati side is the word for drunk, which is ironic because I barely drink. Fun fact about me, I probably drink like, what? 4 drinks a year, 5 drinks a year, something like that. So it's ironic that the word for drunk, for some reason my mind's like, oh, that's a good word, let's remember that one. No idea why. But the word for drunk is nashama, right? Nashama meaning drunk. And yeah, it makes no sense why my brain wanted to remember it, but that was something my brain was like, I'm gonna remember that one. While we're on the topic of Gujarati, there's a really big thing that I want to point out that I think can help a lot of you. Please understand that for different people, and by the way, for different languages, there are going to be different approaches that work best for you. Let's look at my Mandarin, for example. Right now for Mandarin, I have been watching a Chinese drama, and basically all I've been doing in recent history is every time I hear something, or often when I hear something that I don't fully get, I'll pause it, I'll open a dictionary, I'll look up the new word, and I'll be like, oh, I learned something. And then I'll write it down in my book. However, on the Gujarati side, first of all, that doesn't feel like the right decision for me. It doesn't feel as fun for some reason. Not to mention that the Gujarati dictionaries that you can find both online as well as like paper dictionaries and such, it's not quite as user-friendly to be looking up words in comparison to, for example, the Mandarin dictionary that I use. And of course, for Gujarati, there's not as many resources and forums and websites and blogs and videos that teach Gujarati. And so often when there's a new word or something that I don't really understand, it's hard for me to find any real information anywhere that explains in depth how that word is used or how that grammar point is used. As a result, I figured out that I have to make a change and I have to do something a little bit different. And what I realized by accident, by the way, that motivates me a lot more in Gujarati is storytelling. Weird, right? Like today, I had a lot of these new words, right? And I wanted to write something, like write a short text for my teacher so that she can correct it and I can really make sure that I'm using these words and grammar points correctly and I really get it. And so initially I was like, oh, I'll tell some true anecdote about my life. So I write in the first sentence, like, oh, I used to run a window cleaning business. That was like the first sentence. And from there, I went off into some fiction, complete fiction story of me being like a drunk and like being angry and this happened. It's like a big drama, like a soap opera essentially. And I remember being so engaged writing that story. It's really short, it's not long. It's like, what, if you like had a paper, like on a piece of paper, it's like this long typed. So like a long paragraph, call it. Short story. But when I was writing it, I was so engaged, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, and I spiraled out of control, and this and that, and I was having so much fun, I was so engaged with it, that I was like, wait a second, this is something I should be doing more of to push my Gujarati forward. So I think I've got to make a switch here, where either I start like a Gujarati blog, where I write stories, I write whatever, and I actually publish the work after having it corrected by my teacher. I like this because if I'm publishing it to the world, there's some real stakes for me to apply my knowledge, and it's not simply writing for practice, it's actually writing for a purpose, which, by the way, a tangent, but a relevant one, when you're learning a language, one of the fastest things you could do to learn and one of the most effective strategies is to find a real life application for the language that you're trying to learn. So for me, the real life application would be creating a Gujarati blog. So that's one thought that's crossed my mind. Or similarly, what I've thought is if I take common stories in English, Little Red Riding Hood or whatever, right? Like Cinderella or like any kind of common story, right? And I try to translate that into Gujarati, correct it with my teacher, and then post that for people to read, right? I think my hypothesis as of today, and we're gonna see how this plays out, but the hypothesis is that this kind of strategy is going to help me so much more. It's gonna motivate me more, I'm gonna learn more, I'm gonna remember the words at a much deeper level in my brain, and overall it's just gonna be a big win. The last thing I'll say on this topic, and it's an interesting little point to notice, is if you notice in these videos that I've been making, I've made a lot more progress with Mandarin than I have in Gujarati. I literally am at 14 Gujarati words and 77 Mandarin words. It's a massive difference. And ultimately, it comes down to how connected I feel to the language. This is a really good real life example of how connected you feel to a language can impact how much progress you make and how much you're learning. So it's something I recommend for you guys is you've got to find something that works for you, that makes you feel motivated, that makes you feel engaged, that you're like, yeah, I actually want to do this, and that it's just going to deepen your learning. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate your attention. Leave a comment down below. I want to know your thoughts on this video. Hit the like button. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat as well, and my podcast. Podcast is called The Language Learning Show. Link in the description below. On Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat, the username is @PolyglotAzren. And yeah, we'll chat later. Bye for now, guys. See you.